We trod a very perilous path, you know, with our Roman friends. Pilate could be so hasty, immoderate, even tended to overreact, probably promoted to the level of his incompetence. That's how Rome works, really. I think his backer had been one of the emperor's mates. Yes, had been, when he fell out of favour. That left our poor little prefect vulnerable. He needed his friends in low places then, none so low as Judea in their view. Thus far, the temple had been accorded special privileges to a point. They recognised how vital it was to the economy and keeping the peace, although it was hard work getting and keeping them up to speed. This monumental complex of ours is the most powerful and unmissable symbol of national identity to the orthodox and the hothead alike. Ha! These outsiders, unclean creatures, never fully understood. Well, when you've made yourself a whole pile of gods, thrown up a temple every couple of blocks, sacrilegious images everywhere, it devalues the currency, sadly. No doubt they'd have liked to demolish our grand design, convert the whole thing into a sports facility or a shopping mall. Too bad. They did accept this particular institution was non-negotiable, even if they kept us on a very short lead. There had been incidents. Blood had been spilt. We didn't want it happening again. Not on that scale. The last thing we needed then was this Jesus Davidson from up north, upsetting the olive cart proper and during Passover. The military police, they were always a bit twitchy when the whole place was heaving, marching about in full armour, making a point sword rattling. But as it turned out, that proved extremely convenient. The temple guard were pretty handy, but they gave us a higher authority to blame, point the finger elsewhere, and be believed. The Romans, ignorant savages. Their religious education was, shall we say, an ongoing project. Mine is one of the high priestly families. That's how it's been for, forever. Brothers and fathers, even my father-in-law, Annas, we were born to our preeminent roles in the temple. And who would not want to serve God, and his people, of course, in such a way? It was an honour, a delight, carrying forward the age-old traditions of our race. This was our only genuine sphere of influence now, even in the presence of upstarts, even when they control access to our sacred ceremonial vestments. The carpenter's boy? Well, what's the phrase? Collateral damage. In the general scheme of things, he wasn't at all important, but he had big ideas. Delusions. We had to manoeuvre the prefect round to our way of thinking, of course. He obviously didn't see him as a threat, but then his heavies could squash him like a gnat without any encouragement and few repercussions. But now, I will never forget that conversation with him, Jesus, so calmly infuriating even when his followers ran for cover. Judas was a hand-picked asset. There's always one. Some malcontent who's not getting their own way, I suppose. He imagined his boss would be raising legions or something. Aggrieved. Not with the programme, clearly. Not buying into those religious offences, all that about the promised Messiah. He knew a blasphemer when he saw one. Only needed a modest investment. He might have borrowed the sacred phrase. Outrage. But we opted for a charge of sedition so we could play the Roman legal machine. King of the Jews. It was a nonsense. But if it offended their self-deluding pride, it would do nicely. It wasn't why, of course. Why he had to go. It was God. For all his people-pleasing stories, the healings and impressive sleight of hand, the wise sayings, the "I know better." It seemed he wanted to make God in some way accessible, human, just like Mars or Jupiter. Devalue our currency? Not on my watch. My fault? Please. He was guilty and endangering our people. Heaven forgive me. He said that, throwing his weight about, even under arrest, despite our damning witnesses. You're not too heavy for a cross, sunshine. His father's house. His! It was mine. True and humble King, help us to be less absorbed by our own concerns, less focused on our own agendas, to let go of all that feeds our pride, to worship you with genuine love, to be fair, to be forgiving, and to walk beside you on the way of the cross. Amen.